So it seems like you can't jump on YouTube nowadays without seeing this card right here popping up on your feed. So this we know is the Chase Sapphire Reserve, for a card that was the most popular card back in 2016-2017 that issued the metal credit card in all of the major credit card space. All the way to 2023, where basically nobody has talked about this card whatsoever. It's always left by the wayside until now. So the first thing I want to talk about in this video is why the Chase Sapphire Reserve is becoming popular again. Just exactly why that I think that 2024 might just be the year of the Chase Sapphire Reserve. Number two, we're going to be voicing the concerns of the entire credit card community and just exactly why more people are making this shift over to the Chase Sapphire Reserve versus like the Amex Platinums, the Venture X's, some of these other higher tiered premium cards. And really just at its core, just why we're basically fed up with every other issuer right now. And number three is basically my thoughts on why I think 2024 will be the year of the Chase Sapphire Reserve, and more people are going to be thinking about it very, very soon. So first of all, who am I? My name is Anthony Venture, and I'm essentially addicted to American Express credit cards. But even someone who's held 2 Amex Platinum cards at a single time and have 7 total American Express credit cards, after doing a little bit of research on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I could totally see myself in the future canceling the Platinum for the Reserve, but of course, we'll go into that very, very soon. So before we get into all the credits, the bonuses, comparisons, etc., what's the true history of this card? So initially introduced in 2016 by Chase, it came with an initial $450 annual fee and a 100,000 point welcome offer. And this is basically the first widespread for a major bank to actually issue a metal credit card. And now we know nowadays, a lot of people have metal cards now, but at this time, it was a very novel concept and everybody loved it. In fact, the initial launch was so successful that they actually ran out of metal to actually print the cards on. Not only that, but Chase also reported that they actually signed up and got more credit card acquisitions in the first 2 weeks that they actually ever expected for the first year that the card was released. In fact, a few people on YouTube made videos, including Ask Sebi and a few others, that actually got upwards to what they mentioned as like 20,000 views, which at that time was pretty big for credit card YouTube, right? But subsequently, they report right here that JP Morgan Chase lost hundreds of millions of dollars due to the huge intro bonuses that made the Reserve just a must-have. So for those of you who think that credit card YouTube doesn't necessarily affect the banks, I mean, it kind of says it right here. I remember Sebi talking about it, I remember Graham Stephan talking about it, a few other people talking about it at that time. And basically it was an annual fee card that rivaled the Platinum card but was way easier to justify, had an amazing welcome offer that was worth at least $1,500 worth of value, because if you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you have a floor of 1.5 cents per point when you book for travel through their portal, whereas American Express Platinum is anybody's guess. And for an annual $300 travel credit that made the card essentially really easy to justify. Whereas you had the Platinum card, which even at that time was still a coupon book, albeit a little bit less, but way harder to justify for your average consumer. And this pretty much went on for the first few years after its release, but something changed. Something around 2018, 2019, something changed in the credit card ecosystem. Why did nobody talk about it for the next 3 years after that? I mean, it seems like between 2019 to 2023 up until now, nobody's even cared or even thought about the Chase Sapphire Reserve at all. One of the main reasons why some people mention that is, well, they raised the annual fee to $550 and they gave you some more coupon-like additives. And while American Express was really starting to ramp up their annual fees, but also all the benefits that came along with all their different cards, a lot of YouTubers talked about the benefits of the Platinum card and Centurion Lounge access. It was a way more sexy card, so to speak. And that basically continued for the first few years, and almost everybody, including myself, got an Amex card at some point or another. I mean, it was basically that status symbol that everybody under 35 wanted. So have we looked at the Chase Sapphire Reserve all wrong? Have we overlooked this sleeping giant? And what exactly makes the Chase Sapphire Reserve so great in the first place that now it's gaining in popularity again? Well, let's jump right into it. So the Chase Sapphire Reserve nowadays has now come down from the 100K offers it once had to now giving you a welcome offer of 60,000 points after $4,000 worth of spend within the first 3 months of opening the card. Which, as I said earlier, it basically has a floor of a 1.5 cent per point value ratio, since when you have this card and you book with points via the Chase Travel Portal, you're going to be getting a multiplier or 50% boost on all of those points. Which brings me to my first point on why I think this card is going to be just way more powerful going forward. Because you can see everybody turning their wheels right now. Everyone's like, oh, I should get the Amex Platinum. Should I get the gold? You know, should I get a Venture X? What's the easiest way to use my value? And we've seen that many, many times before. What's the easiest card to justify? Doesn't mean we want the absolute best and total possible value. We're just looking for simplicity here. I mean, the credit card game has gotten very, very complicated over the last few years.
Any other factors? Listen, Stan the Credit Frog said the other day that when you get older, you need to get rid of the complications because the older we get, the more complicated life gets. That was paraphrasing, but it's a great point. Stan talks about the coupon book fatigue, and I think I'm feeling it, and I'm also feeling as if I've been manipulated into spending more than I ought to.
And I think a lot of people nowadays are looking for simplicity. So the fact that I don't even have to think about it, no matter what I do, the lowest possible floor I can get with my Chase Ultimate Reward points is 1.5 cents per point. You really can't beat that simplicity. And I think just your average folk who are getting into this game don't want to have to worry about taking your Amex points and transferring it to KLM Air France and then using that for a business class flight and then figuring out what's the cent per point valuation. They just want to take their damn trip. And for a card that is offering 60,000 points, that's worth $900 worth of easy, simplistic travel value. The annual fee on this card has not changed for the first few years, and I'm not sure what's to come in 2024. Maybe they raise it, but at least for right now, it is a $550 annual fee, which to note is $145 cheaper than the Amex Platinum card is currently. Now, one of the main reasons that people really love this card nowadays when it's compared to all of its other competitors is the $300 annual travel credit. Now, we've seen travel credits across other issuers, right? We've seen them before, but this one, if you guys weren't aware, this travel credit is one of the most diverse and easy to use travel credits out of the entire credit card space. And it basically works as follows. As long as you pay with your Chase Sapphire Reserve for any purchase out in life that codes as travel, you're going to be getting a statement credit back of $300. I mean, look, if we just look at competitors, we have the Amex Platinum card. They have a $200 hotel credit, but it can only be used towards FHR or the hotel collection, right? Anywhere else, it doesn't work. What about the Capital One Venture X, right? Everybody loves that $300 travel credit, but it's got to be used towards the Capital One travel portal, right? You can't use it anywhere outside of that. So I'm not sure of all the different things that code as travel, but I'll leave a list right here. But basically all of these different things right here can actually count towards that $300 credit, which the variety you gotta love. Even like travel agencies, if you guys use third parties or just go through travel agencies, that for the most part, 99% of the time, gets coded as travel, thus giving you $300 back. So if you want to use a travel agency to book your Disney trip, that will be eligible for the $300 credit. In fact, I was even on a podcast for people who own Disney timeshares, and I learned that the dues that you pay for holding that timeshare will also code for that $300 travel credit.
Another thing I thought was interesting that I don't know if you ever tried, but people who are Disney Vacation Club owners, the dues that you pay, I guess every single year to have that also too can code towards travel.
Chris asked that question.
Yeah.
And I am 100% going Chase Sapphire Reserve, right? I'm 100% with you on that because it will code as travel. It will get you the $300 credit, right?
So it's the most diverse, the most easy to use travel credit, I think, in all of the credit card space. Maybe I don't want to go through the portal. Maybe I just want to book a flight and I just want to pay with my reserve. Okay, cool. $300 will come back to me. And speaking of the portal, with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you also get multipliers by booking through the portal with said card, which I believe is the highest point multiplier we've ever seen in this category. But basically, if you book travel for hotels and car rentals, you're going to be getting 10 points. That's right, 10 points per dollar spent after the first $300 worth of travel that you pay on that card. Whereas the Amex Platinum card just gives you 5x. And much like the Amex Platinum card, you're also going to be getting 5x back on all flights that are unfortunately booked through the Chase Travel portal. Can't just be directly with the airline. So there, I would say the Platinum card's versatility on their 5x flights would actually be better than the Chase Sapphire Reserves. It has a 3x catch-all travel category that does have a lot of generous options, which I'll leave on the screen right here, which would be eligible for the 3x back on travel. But again, where the Platinum card also lacks, the Reserve kind of thrives, right? If you're going to have just one premium travel card, the Chase Sapphire Reserve also has a 3x back category on all dining. Restaurants, delivery, takeout, etc. But the dining on the Chase Sapphire Reserve is for any restaurant anywhere in the world that accepts Visa. So the majority of restaurants are going to be able to code for the 3x for the dining on the Chase Sapphire Reserve. And yes, I just saw you in the back. You were thinking about it. You were like, wait a second, is there a foreign transaction fee? Well, no, there's no foreign transaction fee on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, so feel free to use it anywhere you want in the entire world. On top of that, Chase also has what's called Chase Dining, and basically it's an assortment of restaurants that are in this collection, and essentially if you do pay with this card for those restaurants, kind of like Built, you're going to be getting 10x back on all those purchases as well, which is honestly pretty insane, but I I just don't know how often you can find these restaurants. I'm just not aware. Some other little multipliers include getting 10x back on all Lyft rides, and a $200 Lyft Pink membership, to which if you watch Jake Mercure's video, that essentially this card for him paid the annual fee very, very easily just from the Lyft Pink membership alone, which is a bit of an edge case, but for a lot of other people who do takeout and delivery, you also get a complimentary DoorDash Dash Pass subscription. Along with that, you're going to be getting $5 per month towards DoorDash delivery, which, if you do it right, you could probably get something for $5 on DoorDash every single month for, after taxes and fees. But a little, they give you little crumbs there. Okay, I'll give you that. At least give us $10 like on the Amex Gold card, all right? I mean, come on. You're also going to be getting 12 months of Instacart Plus membership. And along with that, which is something I actually was able to use in my own life, which was using the credits that you get on like the Chase Sapphire Preferred, Chase Freedom Flex, Freedom Unlimited, is you're going to be getting $10 every single quarter or $15 every single quarter towards Instacart purchases, which you can do for like Publix pickup and basically pay for maybe a round of turkey burgers, who knows. But on the Chase Sapphire Reserve, you actually get $15 per month, which, like I said, I would just do pickup, Publix, and just $15 worth after taxes and fees, so this way you can get it as close to zero every single month as possible. Which for me personally, in my life, I would be able to use the DoorDash and the Instacart credits every single month. It would effectively give me $240 back worth of value that I prepaid for on the annual fee. That, after factoring in the $300 travel credit, essentially would reduce the annual fee to $10 every single year, which I do agree with you. You're prepaying for those benefits, and for that alone, it wouldn't push me to actually get this card. I guess another thing we have to factor in, and one of the main reasons that people get these premium travel cards in the first place, is to enhance their travel experience, right? We're talking about if you're getting a platinum card, a lot of the times you're doing it for the lounge access, right? To enhance your experience while you're waiting for your next flight. Now, right off the bat, much like a lot of other premium travel cards in this space, you're going to be getting that $100 global entry or TSA pre-check credit every 4 years. Now, here's where this card kind of lacks for a lot of people, and I think it's why it lost popularity over the years, while American Express was basically just ramping up all of their lounge access. The Chase Sapphire Reserve essentially gives you access to Priority Pass, which everybody kind of knows. Nobody's really too excited about Priority Pass. Every card and their mother all have Priority Pass access, so it's not necessarily special at this point. However, one thing that is special with the Chase Sapphire Reserve's Priority Pass that many other cards don't have is you actually get access to Priority Pass restaurants, which is, for a lot of people, very, very beneficial. I haven't been to them yet, but I hear that that's a big perk to actually have. Now, on top of that, what Chase has been doing kind of behind the scenes, a little bit under the radar, is essentially what American Express did under the radar for many, many years, right? Like, they were building up their lounges, the Chase Sapphire lounges. We know that there's only ones open in Boston and Hong Kong at the moment, but we do know that they have projections to open up many, many more over the coming years, right? So if that actually comes into fruition, you could definitely see the Chase Sapphire Reserve being a big, big player in the travel game as a whole if they can open up enough lounges in enough widely traveled areas. And so far from what I've seen in pictures, these lounges look pretty nice. And as they do come out exactly as they seem, I mean, would that be a potential competitor to the Centurion Lounge? Like, would there be as much of a pull to go to the Centurion Lounge to get an Amex Platinum card if the Sapphire Lounges are at par or even above for a cheaper card and an easier card to use? I think you might start seeing a shift. Now, speaking of flights to get to these lounges, right, what about the protections on the flights themselves, right? Like, how do the insurances stack up, this being a Visa Infinite card versus what American Express has to offer? Well, I don't know if you knew this, because I just learned about it recently, but did you know that the Amex Platinum card to get travel insurance on your flight has to be paid with your Platinum card and has to be round-trip tickets? You heard me right. So if it's a one-way ticket, which a lot of people like to do for positioning flights, it's also not covered. So you don't need it until you have it, right? It's better to have and not need than to need and not have. And for the fact that you have the Chase Sapphire Reserve that allows you to just pay, from what I understand, just taxes and fees on that specific flight if you just pay with all points, and you still get all the travel insurances covered under that flight, I mean, come on. That's like, that ease of mind, that simplicity, again, you go back to the simplicity. That peace of mind is really what I think, like, what everybody wants, right? And of course, you can see the entire list here if you want to pause and just look at the different amounts in here and how it compares to the Platinum card. Essentially, auto rental collision damage waiver, lost luggage reimbursement, trip cancellation insurance, baggage delay, trip delay reimbursement, emergency evacuation, transportation, like basically absolutely everything you could possibly want on this card and above what the Amex Platinum card actually can offer you, all comes along with the Chase travel insurances. Now, one thing on that I will mention is a lot of people have talked about the customer service or even just the emergency service that they got along with their Chase travel cards. Anecdotally, just things that I've read over the years and just a little bit of research was that Chase's customer service and those, edge cases, those emergency situations were not as easy to use or get on the phone or even just rectify a situation as it was on American Express's concierge service. So, I mean, take that for what it's worth, but in my opinion, I guess if the Platinum card is that much easier, and you guys let me know down below if you actually have experience with Chase's customer service in that way. But if the Amex concierge service is that much more efficient and gets things done way better than any other issuer out there, which is what I've heard, then that would actually skew my decision to go more for the Platinum card for that peace of mind as well. But I guess just on a apples to apples comparison, like what are the numbers, what do they offer you? Chase Sapphire Reserve might win out just a little bit in compared to the Platinum card. But again, if the service sucks, then we don't want it anyway, right? Who cares what you give me? Can I actually get it is the question. Which one thing on customer service I noticed in my Discord, a lot of people have talked about Chase's customer service not being that great. So far, I've had decent experiences with them, but I never really needed them that much. But I think the overwhelmingly majority of people will say American Express, they pretty much are king of customer service, right? They're going to win every single day of the week in all facets, but correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure. What about when you get to your destination? What about like hotel collections and whatnot, right? We know the Platinum card has FHR and the hotel collection, which are some of the most luxurious properties you'll ever find. But the Chase Sapphire Reserve is no slouch. It also has its own luxury hotel collection with very similar perks and benefits like room upgrades, daily breakfast, late checkout, and special experience credit worth $100 if it's eligible and you book it in a certain way, right? Which that alone is kind of comparable to the Amex cards. I'm not sure who has more in which collection, but at least the benefits are still there and very similar. And then you can see the whole list here of just American Express's and Chase's airline and hotel transfer partners. You can see American Express has 6 more than Chase actually has, but a lot of them, some of the main ones, pretty much are shared in common between the two, with the exception of like Hilton or Qantas, etc. And honestly, there's just so many more things to compare, but I want to get to the next part, which is just voicing the concerns of the community and why people are choosing to talk about this card more and more now, whereas nobody really talked about it in the last 3 years. Like, why is now different? Well, as you guys know who've been following the community, well, American Express has changed so many different things. Capital One is removing things now, right? The venture cards just lost some access to projects, etc. Welcome offers change, lounge access changes, they make status harder to make. Welcome offer languages change. Like, there's so many different things that have changed. They've added more coupons for the gold and the platinum card. They've restricted the use of the Capital One travel credit. The Hilton lineup with American Express cards took away their priority pass. They have more restrictive language on how you can use the credit. Just a million different things to kind of lock you into a specific way to use those credits, so this way they lose the least amount of money possible and you have the hardest time trying to book as possible, right? So I think in the community, everyone's just upset. That's it. I think everybody's just upset. Like, why do we have to have all these changes? Why do credit cards have to be more and more difficult every single year because they're losing money? Why do these annual fees have to raise? Why do these welcome offers have to change? Like, why are all these things happening? Why can't we just have a simplistic approach to things? And I think that's what everyone wants. Everyone just wants simplicity. That's why the Venture X pretty much owned the summer this year, right? Because everyone loved the travel credit. It was very easy to justify, a net benefit $5, right? Everybody says that. And then they restrict things and they restrict things and they restrict things, right? So we just want one simplistic approach to one card that we can use for all of our facets in life. And we don't want to get blindsided. We're consumers at the end of the day, and we should be treated as such. And the fact that we love these cards and we talk about it, it's our whole community, it's basically our whole lives. These card issuers, maybe they lose a little bit of money, but still they should view us as consumers to make our experiences as enjoyable as possible. And the more and more friction that you add to the entire process, the more and more upset customers you're going to have, to which, look, how many people are canceling the Amex cards right now? How many people are upset with American Express right now? I'm upset with American Express right now. I'm contemplating canceling the Platinum and the Gold card because I'm just going to get some Chase Ink cards right now. Or maybe I'll just get the Chase Sapphire Reserve, call it a day. Something that's just simplistic and easy to use. So sorry to be on a rant, but it's like, this is the main contention that everybody has. And everyone's starting to come away. Look at Stan, the Credit Fox prediction video. He mentioned coming away from American Express cards. He did a whole video why he stopped using his American Express credit cards. And while he still finds value, he finds more and more people in 2024, in his prediction, are not going to use Amex credit cards. And they're going to kind of lose the lust that we had for them for all these years. And can you really blame us? I mean, right now, I can't even contemplate my Platinum card canceling it because, well, I'm going to have to cancel it, right? There's no other option for me. What can you do with the Chase Sapphire Reserve? I could downgrade to the Chase Sapphire Preferred, $95 annual fee. I can downgrade it to the Chase Freedom Unlimited, the Freedom Flex. Like, I don't have that luxury with American Express. It's either cancel or you keep it and you foot that bill for as long as you can humanly possibly stomach it. The most you could downgrade on a Platinum card is down to the green $150 annual fee, or if you guys have watched my videos, another thing you could do is delay the inevitable, kind of like I did. A lot of people don't know you can do this, but what you could possibly do is call American Express and actually downgrade the green card. That's right, I did just say downgrade to what's called the traditional green card. It pretty much allows you to go from a $150 annual fee on the green card down to just a $49 annual fee, but get this. This credit card actually cannot, I say cannot, earn membership reward points. A $95 annual fee green card that does nothing for you, and it's basically a museum piece. We don't want to be restricted by $200 travel credits on only can be used towards FHR and hotel collection. We don't want to have a Capital One travel credit that can only be used towards the travel portal. We don't want a $200 airline incidental fee credit for just upgrades and you know, seat changes, you know, on plane food and beverages, right? Like, everybody gets around that and does United Travel Bank or just, you know, buying a flight under $200 and it codes towards that, right? Like, why do we have to jump through so many hoops? With the Chase Sapphire Reserve, I can book that flight as long as it codes as travel. I got my $300 back. Cool. You know, don't even give me a $200 Uber Eats credit, no matter how easy it is to use and how much I actually enjoy it. Just lower the annual fee by $200 and I'll be a happy camper. And not even to mention that the Platinum card could easily go up to $800 tomorrow and everybody would still be okay with keeping it open. $1,000 tomorrow. Who knows? And the Sapphire Reserve has not changed its annual fees, I think, in the last 3 years, but also very, very possibly due for a refresh, as Stan also mentioned, and it could go up to $650, but still it's going to be a little bit lower than the Platinum card even is today. Now, I'm sorry if I'm going on a rant and if I'm blowing out your eardrums, but I just want to say these things and I feel like they need to be said, right? The Platinum card, right? I got the Charles Schwab card for the reason of I was able to cash out those points at 1.1 cent per point into my Charles Schwab brokerage, so I could actually convert my Amex points to cash, right? But there's no other option in the American Express ecosystem that allows you to cash out your points that easily, right? But what about Chase cards? If I have even a Chase Freedom Unlimited, I can technically take my, who knows, 30K Chase Hold Reward points and take it out at 1 cent per point into my bank account for $300 in cash. It's a no annual fee card, and I'm able to do that. Like, are we for real? So, like, why am I spending all this time worrying about cashing out in case of an emergency? Just cancel the Schwab, get another Sapphire Preferred, get 100K points. Okay, there's your $1,000 right there. Get a Chasing Business card, that's another 100K points, right? That's another $1,000 in cashback value. You don't really need the Schwab unless you just have an absorbent amount of American Express points, which at this point, I have a good amount. So why is it so popular? Why? I think you guys know the answer, right? I think you guys know what I'm going to say. The ease of use, the simplicity, the variety of the ability to use their credits, and the hope they do what they say they're going to do and add lounges so this way it can become a real player in the travel space. And a card that lets you get a welcome offer every 48 months. So I got about 2 more years. I think I have to wait like maybe 1.5 years before I could actually get a welcome offer on the Chase Sapphire Reserve because I got the Chase Sapphire Preferred back in 2021, and you can get a welcome offer on a Sapphire Series cards once every 48 months. So wrapping up, I think 2024 is the year where people become fed up and they start going to more and more easier means of justifying annual fees, whether for good or for bad, whether you agree with it or not. I just see the way it's heading and all the different talks out there in the small little pockets and communities and cohorts of people just saying like, hey, we don't like these changes. We're not happy about it. We're going to go to a product that may be easier. Maybe that's the Venture X for you. Maybe that's the Sapphire Reserve. Maybe that's the Platinum card because you fly so often you can get outsized returns. It doesn't really matter. Everybody can be right depending on your own life and your own situation. And nobody's going to knock you for your decision. So in closing, after all the rants, what do you guys think? Am I a madman? Is this ridiculous? Does this make sense for you? Do I make valid points or am I completely off base on all these points? I don't really know. There's just some concerns and research I did over the last few hours on this specific card. So let me know down below your thoughts on this card. If you have it, if you don't have it, would you consider getting it? And of course, if you want to get started in the whole Chase ecosystem, I probably recommend the Chase Freedom Unlimited special offer that's out there right now. It's essentially doubling your cash back for the first year that you have the card. So you can check out this video here. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you.